निःशेष जाड्या पहा.
Now we proceed with the lighting of the lamp. I request all the dignitaries to please. I request Director Sir to please escort the dignitaries to the dais. The song Krishna Ni Begane Baru, which is in Kannada and sung by colonial cousins, translated into English says, Lord Krishna, please come quickly. It is more apt today than ever before. It reads further, or the song reads further. Come back as Jesus, come back as Allah, come back as anyone, but save Mother Earth. With so much turmoil happening on Mother Earth today, Sir M. Vishweshwara Institute of Management Studies and Research proudly presents an international conference on finding new pathways in helping and serving mankind. Without further ado, may I please request our Director, Dr. Purushottam Patil, to deliver the welcome address.
Wishing each one assembled here a very good morning. Esteemed chief guest for the international conference, Mr. Rajgopal, Deputy General Manager of Karnataka Bank. We have the various dignitaries assembled here who have contributed for this particular conference. Important dignitaries. We start with our esteemed management members. Our President, Shri Parthasarathi Naik sir, Honorable Secretary Padmaja Madam, our esteemed members of the management, Anand Banwasi sir, Governing Council esteemed members, Dr. Narendra Maidpadi sir, esteemed Principal, Dr. Y.D. Venkatesh sir, Honorable Bhavani Madam, the most resourceful experts, the conveners of our international conference, Dr. Dhanashri Pote Madam, Dr. Rupam Agrawal Madam, Dr. Vishwanath Malji sir, the brilliant organizing faculty members, the non-teaching staff, and most importantly, the managers, the brilliant CEOs of tomorrow of various top organizations, our dear students who are assembled here. It's indeed a great, valuable opportunity for me to stand here and welcome you all for this magnificent, for this wonderful, learning, insightful opportunity. SWIMS Multidisciplinary International Conference 2025. When we are assembled here for this inauguration event that we have right now, certain thoughts come to our mind. If I have to understand from you, my dear students, when we say a startup or maybe on the next level, the unicorn, what do we mean by a unicorn, if I may ask you? What comes to your mind? Can anybody help me understand this phrase, a unicorn? When we say unicorn, my dear friends, we mean that a startup with $1 billion US valuation. Are we clear, everybody? A startup having $1 billion US valuation of that particular organization. Now it's a very huge amount, close to, when I was calculating, 9,000 crore Indian rupees that we talk about. Certain facts that come to our mind. Our country, India, has 100 such unicorns which are there in our country. The way that we are emphasizing, the way that we are focusing on our startups to make them not just startups, but making them unicorns, that inspires all of us at a different level as Indians to be proud of. And then talking about our economy as far as unicorns is concerned, the third largest globally, a developing nation with having such a great merit. This is the first thought which comes to my mind. 3 facts which I would like to present to you related to our conference, related to the theme of our conference. The second point, we talk about an excellent organization of our country which has been able to generate 400 million subscribers in record time. Which is the organization I'm talking about? None other than Reliance Industries Limited, Reliance Jio. 400 million subscribers in record time. A global record. This is the second fact which I would like to present to you. And finally, the topmost, the tycoon, the organization, Jeff Bezos, I'm talking about Amazon. It has been able to reduce its delivery time. It's an e-commerce company, right? The delivery time, reducing it by 30%. Now 1% for a company like Amazon, making a difference on the global business, its own organization, it's a huge amount. Huge amount of money you are saving. And when we talk about 30% saving on the delivery time, it's certainly magnanimous amount of savings for the company. How these three facts have been possible? The first one about the startups. The second one we are talking about getting the 400 million subscribers in record time. And the third part, an e-commerce giant reducing the delivery time by 30%. This can never be possible because of the ecosystem. We are management students, all of us. But without technology, without data analytics, or without the support of AI, all these success milestones that we have achieved from our country or world over, I think it may not be possible. So it's important that we integrate technology into our management science. Our decision making will improve further. It will have impact on our businesses. And that's what the organizations of tomorrow, they are expecting from each one of us. That we should be the enablers by using the right technology. Maybe we may not be able to design that technology, but we should be able to use that technology for the betterment of our decision making, for the efficiency of our organizations. Having said that, the point which comes to our mind, coming to our organization, this particular conference becomes very important for us. The tracks that we are going to have and the two speakers that we are going to have for the day, they are going to be very prominent for us. We'll have Dr. Michelle Segan, who will be joining from Malaysia live at 11 o'clock Indian Standard Time. And after that, we'll have Dr. Rosanna Rees, who is a senior associate professor at ISG International Business School from Paris. Both these experts will be talking on this particular theme. My appeal to all of you, just be there with undivided attention. Take advantage how much best you can take so that you can equip yourself. You can master the competencies that are required for the managers of the coming time. That's hardly 1.5 years for you from today. Our international conference, this time there are several landmarks that we have been able to achieve. We are having close to 45 papers which are scrutinized and which have been selected for that particular conference. Shortly we'll be inaugurating the compendium also of the selected papers and the abstracts that have been published. The papers, if you see the cross section, there are papers who have been coming from several countries, including Germany also, in the recent, this particular 3-4 days that we have seen. The speakers that we have been able to collaborate for, it speaks many things about our organization, that the commitment our team has for the conference. Getting the international experts, certainly it's an achievement for our conference at a different level. Having said that, we are blessed to have a management which is always keeping the standards of expectations at a very high level. So in the coming time that we would like to have, if I would understand our international conference, that when we say international, it has truly to be proving to its name as international conference. Like for the tracks also, can we have a track especially for a global management systems, where we have global players becoming the evaluators for those particular tracks, and we have papers talking about global economy. This would be our endeavor in the coming time. The second could be, now we have speakers at this conference at this point of time. We can also think of having a panel discussion of 2 or 3 speakers, international speakers, talking about that particular time, and 2-3 such different panel discussions we can have, so that we can have much more valuable takeaways after that particular conference, after that particular event that we are going to have. Because this is the place, this is the time for networking, and this is the time where we can take advantage of various expertise that comes our way during that particular event. So setting certain standards for the coming time for our conference, and not taking much time for this particular dais, for this particular event, I sincerely take this opportunity to welcome all the dignitaries and all brilliant students for this great event. Let's ensure that we take maximum benefit out of this, and we take the best insights that can be valuable for our careers forward. Let's ensure that we contribute also in the coming time so that that conference becomes more successful. We can be able to showcase our institution much effectively, so that we can have more collaborations from the industry and academia, from India and abroad also. With these few words of objectives for the coming time, and congratulations to the conveners and the organizing team, my sincere gratitude to you for organizing such a wonderful conference and getting such great collaborations for the particular conference. Certainly welcome you all, and thank you very much.
Thank you so for your insightful words. Now I'd like to request Parthasarathy sir to please address the president of the MKES groups.
Thank you, Murali. Respected people on the dais, Dr. Rajagopal sir, thank you very much for taking the time to coming and gracing this occasion. Dr. Narendra, former Executive Director of Union Bank of India, we welcome you, sir, and Mr. Venkatesh, my great friend and guide. Thank you for gracing this occasion, and other members of the dais, the management. Children, I'll just say good morning. आप लोग खाना खाया होगा तो जोर से good morning बोलना. But I'm not seeing any response to any of these speeches. Okay? Good morning. Good morning. और जोर से. और जोर से. Yeah, that's nice. So now I am feeling you are going to participate in the discussion, because after me, Mr. Rajagopal will take you all. He's a very senior DGM in Karnataka Bank with 30 years of experience. He will guide you to the technological aspects of management, because he has started writing books of accounts in a hand, and now he is using Excel, Zoho and all that thing. So he will explain to you all how technology has developed and how it has helped to make our life very easy. There is one simple line in Bhagavad Gita, Parivartan Jeevan Ka Saar hai. That is, change is the way of life. So what we are saying in the last, earlier every 100 years we have a change, now every 10 years we are having a change, and technology is going very fast, as Dr. Patel said. If you all don't develop the soft skills, you are going to be obsolete. So please, all management graduates, develop soft skills and don't take it lightly. If you don't do it, you will all become obsolete. So it's very important you take very great care in having technology, learn technology, and you have to be very inquisitive, because it's a changing world. And I sincerely thank Dhanashri and Rupa Madam for organizing this wonderful international conference. Congratulations to you all. I think this is the third conference we are having in this one, and it is a great achievement, because to get international speakers is not very easy, and all the supporting staff for helping them out, and I'm saying it's all flawlessly done. And so again, children, my simple thing to you all is, please be very attentive and inquisitive. Only when you're inquisitive and learn the soft skills, because the world is changing very fast. Companies are getting different only because of the technology. You have seen Intel. Which is the company? Anybody knowing NVIDIA? Yes. What is NVIDIA? What is the market cap today? 5 trillion. Okay, so after NVIDIA has come, what has happened? Which company is having a tough time? Which company? Tell me. Yeah, which is the Intel. Intel is having a tough time. AMD is having a tough time, because the chips are changing. So maybe tomorrow, management, if you don't upgrade your soft skills, you will become defunct. So please, my sincere request to you all, go on having technological advances and getting into technology. That is why Dhanashri and Rupa arrange this conference so that you will have the international perspective of technology. It's very important. Thank you. I'm giving the speaker to Maker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your short and very insightful speech of words of wisdom. So, without further ado, can I request the convener of the conference, Dr. Dhanashri Kote, to come and brief us about the conference?
A very warm welcome to our chief guest, esteemed Mr. Rajgopala sir from Karnataka Bank, DGM, to our esteemed trustees Padmaja madam, Parthasarathy sir, Anand sir, Bhavani ma'am, YD Venkatesh sir, Narendra sir. Welcome to this 4th International Conference. It's indeed our privilege and pleasure to have you all at this 4th Multidisciplinary Research Conference 2025. So, I'll just brief you about the conference. This will be a two-day conference from 28th and 29th. 28th, we have the chief guest, Mr. Rajgopala sir, who is going to address us on the topic, on the theme, which is Business Management Practices, Integration of Technology for Competitive Advantage, Future Prospects and Strategic Pathways. After which we have Dr. Michelle Segan from Malaysia, who is going to address us on future of work. So today we are going to deliberate integrating AI to gain competitive advantage, and for this we require future of work to see how workforce can transit. So we have that. After that we have Dr. Rosanna Rees from ISG Paris. She is going to talk on driving data and operational efficiency to gain competitive advantage through AI. So we have these two interesting speakers. Tomorrow we have the track where our research scholars, academicians, students have written papers on this theme, and we have this from a different country. We have from Germany, we have from Bangalore, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra. We have people, research scholars, faculty presenting research papers. So I think this deliberation is going to be very scholarly, and you will gain a lot of knowledge and insight through this. These research papers will be published in Scopus, ABDC journals. So we look forward for this two-day deliberation, and I welcome you all once again for this. Thank you.
Now I request ma'am to be on stage, and we have the release of the conference proceedings, the compendium of abstracts. Can I request all the dignitaries to please request the conveners and the other dignitaries also to come on stage, please, for the photograph, please. So ma'am, so please, all of you, both of you can come, so please.
Ready? Big clap देने का ना.
I request Ms. Natasha Khandekar from PGDM General Batch to come and introduce our chief guest. I just came to know that sir has been a teacher himself also. So there's some common path we followed, sir, in life. So welcome once again, sir. So for the formal introduction.
Good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries, teachers, and my dear friends. It is my honor to introduce our chief guest today, Mr. Rajagopala B., Deputy General Manager at Karnataka Bank Limited. Mr. Rajagopala started his career at Dandathita High School, Udupi, as a science teacher for 1.5 years. Then he joined prestigious Karnataka Bank in 1996 and served in various places like Solapur, Kundur, Bangalore, etc. Then he elevated as an Assistant General Manager in 2021 and posted as Regional Head of Regional Office Udupi. After being promoted as a DGM in 2024, serving as Regional Head of Mumbai region, which consisted of total 59 branches across Maharashtra. His other interests are Yakshagana, drama, singing, playing shuttle, and cricket. Today, we are truly honored to have such an inspiring leader with us. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rajagopala B.
I met sir at his BKC office and he was very hospitable. He extended great hospitality. So it's our turn now. So I can request Kruti Shetty to please come on stage with Memento and the sapling. Request Parthasathi sir to do the honors, please. So felicitating the chief guest. Sir was very instrumental in becoming the title sponsor. So thank you very much, sir, for your generosity. Please address the gathering because he's taken time out of his busy schedule. So.
Good morning. Sir already told that you should show your energy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Okay, but still not satisfied. Because of demand by sir only. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good. Keep it up. So good morning once again, respected dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Purushottam sir and Anant Manavas sir, Partha sir, and madam, and your professor, Murli sir especially, who is really post in this ICOW because he is continuously calling me and each and every time asking about that conference and updating about this conference, etc. And all management committee, because I have met once in last in our society, education society. And my actually, let me say that my guru also know, Narendra sir. Always I am asking him about it because he is a ex MD of our Indian Overseas Bank, and I am asking any doubt that I am asking with him, sir also getting the guidance from him. So which has given a boost to me to lead this, that financial capital city, Mumbai, to lead this region, which is I really happy to take this responsibility as a regional head of this Mumbai region. Before that of my Udupi, which is my native. I am very happy that today you are honored with me with the Tulasi. I think with the Tulasi plant you are given which is now called related with my Udupi Sri Krishna, who is a Krishna famous temple in Udupi you might have been visited. So now that's a very good correlation is happened. So which has given a good positive sign that this conference will be a very, very successful one. So it is an honor to join you today as a chief guest for this international research conference organized by this Sir Vishwesvaraya Institute of Management Studies. Again, you know Vishwesvaraya, and we don't want to say Sir Vishwesvaraya. So he's once again very great leader. It is really I'm not getting any words to talk today because, of course, first of all, sir and that our Partha sir, whatever that I noted on this my note, they are already completed. Now I'm thinking that now what I have to talk to with these people because he told about that what is the technology, how we have to use, etc. And given 2-3 examples of Reliance and how that market cap they captured and 30% delivery time they reduced. These are all things. Whereas sir spoke about if you are not changed, then you are obsolete. This is actually 2 points I want to tell. But now I don't have any points. But let me, as madam told that as you are a teacher earlier, tell about something. So then I got some idea that okay, let me start with that. So yes, of course, I have never thought that I will become a banker because my father is a teacher, my brother is a teacher, and everybody is our family itself is a teacher. So I just once appeared for the examination of Karnataka Bank when I seen the newspaper and applied and got passed and interviewed. And interview also one simple question they asked, the interview committee asked one question. See, teaching job is a very, very good job. Having 6 months holiday. And why you are opting for bank? It's very risky. And then told, no sir, bank also is a very, I'm thinking it's a very interesting job. Main is there's a service that we can give to the public. So that is one main teaching. Of course, we are creating students, etc. So it's totally different. I'm not thinking that it's a risk, etc. Though it's a 6 months leave is holiday is there, but I opt this. Okay, then are you ready to go anywhere? Because banking is a transferring job. So you have to go every corner of this. So ready, sir, because see, bank is giving everything. So when you are going as an officer, you will give it every quarters and everything. Once you are getting everything, then what is the point? Any place is our place. No, there's no question of that. It is I'm in a Udupi, I'm in a Mumbai or somewhere. So I opted the bank. So which is given in this position, just like you were a student, as a student like you, I'm attending all those things, and now since from the clerk, I become a DGM, Deputy General Manager. With the, as rightly said by, we have to adopt the changes. Because you know that, as you rightly said, we have started banking in our Karnataka Bank also. We have started as a clerical in a ledger. At that time, you might know that ledgers are there. After that checkmate, like that one evolution happened, and now centralized core banking solution, which is our Karnataka Bank is the first bank to introduce their core banking solution. So through that, see at that time our then Chairman Mr. Anand Krishna and all other board of directors thought that we have to change. We have to adapt for the changes. If you would have been not done that core banking solution at that time, we cannot dream that we can do this online banking or internet banking or tips in mobile, that what we are doing. So which is connected at that time. That means 20 years back, they thought that we have to change. Then they did what are the requirement. Similarly now, we have to think what is the next for next 20-25 years. So for that you have to start now itself to change ourselves. Otherwise, as rightly said by sir, definitely we are obsolete. Because there's an ample examples are there. You know that examples Nokia and all image camera etc. company. See how Kodak, how they say they are not adapted any changes. That's why they are not in the new field itself. So that's why we have to first, as being a student, and you are all management students, I think. So yeah, so you have to ensure that whenever there is some evolution or some changes are happening, you have to adapt quickly. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult. So with this, yes, of course, today you are having an international research conference here going on. So I think this concept of this international conference is, I think, I can just brief like this, that connects minds across borders, because I have seen that sir told a lot of places, madam also told from Rajasthan, and from now international from outside, out of country also, they are going to address you and giving a main importance about how that AI, chatbot, all those things, now topics will be there. And combine resource and expertises, as you know that, and creates a sustainable partnerships and generate solution that collectively we can achieve. So this is the now main aim of this, I think, this conference. So as we are having, I know that we are having various sessions, so definitely make best use of it, as rightly said by sir. Be a concentrator on that, because you will not get the opportunity every time. This is the good opportunity given by this college and by all that management committee and sir and everyone has taken a pain to do this conference, and you have to get best benefit, because there's a lot of learnings will be there. So that's why please note, as I said, be concentrated on all their sessions. So that's only I can say 10, and it is my once again great pleasure today that I'm here. Really, it is a great honor me, and I thank really management of our SVMS to give me proper opportunity for our bank for serving you as in the form of sponsorship. Once we called that definitely. So always Karnataka Bank, you know that always we are running in at a social cause under CSR activities. We are mainly concentrating on the education and environmental aspects, and as well as health. Whenever these three aspects are there, definitely Karnataka Bank is attending to, and as here is also once again the educational matters, I immediately taken up the matter with our top management, and they immediately, I think, given sanction order and for the sponsorship. Yeah, that's why once again, special thanks to my branch manager here, Mr. Yashwant, who is also coordinating with our head office, and Mr. Sarin Haji is a cluster head. They are also coordinated for this. So this is once again, thanks once again to you to give an opportunity. And of course, today's subject, as you mentioned about that, I will not take much time. I know that you are all very eagerly to listen to other sessions from about 11 o'clock. So that technology, as one word came already, sir told about lot of the things, but actually I mentioned about to that or to you, but I will just tell you that some of the parameters, that how the evolution happened, especially you know that in our Karnataka Bank also we have adopted lot of AI-based technology-driven systems to cater customer service, and as well as you know that one of the important that we have introduced as a DIRA, as a digital human interactive relationship associates, which where is all that it will only take its own, just like human being. So like lot of examples are, and even our day-to-day life, day-to-day our activities. Earlier you know that banking is the definitions of accepting the deposit for the purpose of lending. But I think apart from that, there's a huge, tremendous changes happen in banking. You know that everywhere things are happening in the fingertips. So mobile banking, I think everybody will use that. So in such a manner that everyone, by sitting at anywhere, you can do anything. So that's how technology is helpful. So that's a very good subject is taken by our management and professors here. And it's a really wonderful opportunity for all of you. And apart from that, you know that I think everybody might have been using the UPI. What is that taken as big resolution? So can you anybody guess what is the September transaction happened under UPI? I just noted on yesterday what is the number of transactions. Can anybody guess numbers? UPI under UPI. For September, October you are yet to get. Around 19.63 billion. 19.63 billion transactions happen under UPI with the amount of rupees 24.90 lakhs crores. See, this is how the technology is now helping, and everyone is on fingertips. So, and of course this has happened, and in meantime you have to be very careful about, as you know that everywhere there is an advantages, similarly disadvantages also there. Which is that one? Can anybody guess? Yeah? Yes, cyber frauds. It's very disheartening to note that cyber frauds also happen. See, something is happening, everybody is ready to do something. So that one you have to be very careful. So that's why our main program agenda is actually our awareness program. Being from Karnataka Bank also, we are now doing a lot of awareness program. And as RBI भी बोलता है, RBI कहता है, you might have seen that advertisement. So you have to be very careful, because I am having paper cutting for that also. Actually, while reading, I have got that one also. See, there are 20,000 cyber financial frauds in 5 years. Victims lost around 2,000 crores. So hard-earned money is going out of some others. Correct, no? So we should be very careful. We have to give the education awareness program as much as possible, especially to senior citizens. Especially to senior, you might have seen daily newspapers. Senior citizen hard earned money, they have saved, that one they are losing. So for that, only thing is, mantra is we have to educate them as being a students. That's your responsibility also. So you have to educate them, and you have to give the awareness as much as possible. Because now, if you go through that 5 years financial, whatever that fraud happened, there 2020 to 2025 numbers came down. Now numbers, though frauds are happening, due to awareness program, now numbers are came down. So we are happy to note that. So as much as possible, let us give the awareness to all our public, and because you know that if you see this paper, just news and article, it's very, very dangerous. So at one end technologies we are using like anything, but in the meantime we have to be very careful about these aspects. So this is the only thing I can tell from our side, as being Karnataka Bank, always with you, sir, and we are also expecting same support from you also. Once again, thanks to all here dignitaries and outside the virtually those who are joined, and of course professors and students especially who are here. Thanks to you and entire managing committee. Once again, I may miss some of the names, sorry for that, because I cannot remember some of the names, but I'm really extremely sorry for that. But definitely we were with you, and also expecting same support from you also. Karnataka Bank is grown because of you customers and as well as shareholders. So expecting again good support from you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, and I wish this conference all the best, and let it be a very successful one. Good luck. Make best use of this conference. All the best.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words, and I promise on behalf of the student community that we'll ensure that the cybersecurity issue that you raised will be taken care of, and my apologies for all the persistence, sir. So, with that, we proceed further. Can I request Patil sir to please guide the dignitaries? We'll do the need. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you, sir. To introduce the keynote speaker, can I request Mr. Maheen Patel from EGDM General to introduce the keynote speaker, Dr. Michelle Sidhu.
Good morning, esteemed dignitaries, trustees, director, faculty, staff, and all my fellow friends. I allow Selabad Sadara. You might be confused what this is. It means good day and hello in Malay. Now, moving forward to this event, I'll be talking about Dr. Michelle Sidhu. She is CEO of Optimal Insight and independent board director of Beherd, Malaysia. Dr. Michelle Sidhu is a leader in human-centric work transformation with 25 years of experience in finance and human capital strategy in UK and Malaysia. She has held a senior role at UBS, HSBC, CIMB, Asia School of Business, and ICLEF, blending business acumen with expertise in leadership development and organizational change. As a certified leadership strategist, executive coach, and psychotherapist, Michelle has consulted Fortune 500 companies, GLCs, SMEs, and industries such as oil and gas, finance, and construction. She holds a PhD in Future of Work from the University of Nottingham and degrees from London Stock Exchange. Her most recent recognition includes top 250 global thought leaders and top 50 HR leaders. She has completed her BSc and MSc from London School of Economics. Recently, she has been awarded as a Malaysian Women Leaders Award. Thank you so much, and nice to meet you, Michelle Ma.
Can be there in person, but unfortunately I'm not very well. But very happy to be part of this session today. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and questions later on in the end of my keynote, right? So I think I just wanted to share with you today that this is very exciting times, and I will be speaking mainly based on the work that I've done and also the experience that I've had working with organizations throughout Asia Pacific and also throughout Europe on the future of work, right? So allow me to share my screen with you. Okay, can you see my screen? Yes? Okay, very good, very good. All right. So I think just to begin, I would like to share maybe a bit about who I am. I think I just wanted to
Are we audible to you, Dr. Michelle?
Hello.
Yeah, just a minute. Can we request you, because there is some audio issue is there. Just a few seconds, can we request you? Harish, you're making it up. Yeah, your voice is not audible. Just give us a few moments. Few moments. We are very sorry for the disruption in the technical area, Dr. Michelle. Give us a moment's time.
Why don't you start all over again? बात करो उनसे। That's green. Started when this other screen. After 2 logins.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're audible now.
Is it on?
Yeah, you are. Please continue. Please continue.
Alright, is everything okay now?
Yeah, please continue. Please continue.
Thumbs up or not?
Yeah, thumbs up. Yes.
Yeah, all good?
Yeah.
So I can continue?
Yeah,
Yes.
please. Sorry for the disruption.
Okay, very good. So let me just start again. Okay. So once again, I'm not sure if you heard what I said earlier, but I'm very excited to be here to speak to all of you. I wish I could be there in person, but unfortunately, I have not been very well. So due to health circumstances, I cannot be there in person. But thank you very, very much to all the professors, doctors who brought me along to have this conversation with you. Thank you for organizing this, and I'm very honored to be here today to speak to all of you. I think we've had an introduction about me earlier, so I won't need to go through that again. But basically, I just want to share with you a little bit about my organization. So what we do as well at Optimal Insight is we've helped organizations and workforces as well as leadership to future-proof, right? So we do a lot of future of work in human capital consulting as well as leadership training and development. And in terms of working with academic institutions and curriculum, we actually help and work with faculty as well to build future of work solutions along with industry, all right? So maybe we can begin right now, and we can start with a few newspaper articles that I have in front of us here right now, okay? So these newspaper articles are actually capturing certain key things that are happening around the world today. So maybe you're wondering, why am I sharing this with you? You'll understand later on when I link it all back, all right? So maybe can I explain to you first? So the first newspaper article is about a chatbot that lies, right? So can you imagine a chatbot where you're going in to say book tickets or book a hotel, and what happens is the chatbot, instead of telling you the truth, it actually lies to you, right? So that would be a very, very awkward situation, right? And then not only does it lie to you, it actually swears at you at the same time, right? So that was the first newspaper article. I think the second newspaper article I wanted to share with you is about this man in Japan who marries a hologram. So he marries his avatar, and he's like very, very much in love with the avatar. And instead of marrying a human wife, he marries a digital AI wife instead, right? The third newspaper article I wanted to share with you is about India's mental health burden, right? So there's actually a mental health issue and concern over there, and this concern has risen in particular, especially with the rise of smartphone use, right? So this is another thing that has come up recently, okay? The other thing I wanted to share with you as well is how Elon Musk is saying that we could be living in Mars in 20 years' time from now. Oh, I don't know why there's an echo. Sorry, give me 1 second. Hello?
Switch off the mobiles. Switch off the mobiles.
Hello? Okay, I think much better. Okay, let's stop
This is fine.
doing that. Alright, so 4 newspaper articles, and maybe just around the room, right? Out of these 4 newspaper articles, which one is the one that worries you the most out of the 4? So, is it number 1, the one where the chatbot lies and also swears at you? If you say it's number 1, then put up your hands. Hands up. Number 1, the most worried. Not many people. Not very worried about that. How about number 2, marrying avatar, marrying digital? Yes? Okay, more hands up, right? More hands up. Okay. What about number 3 when we're looking at the health burden, the mental health burden? A few? Alright, not as much as maybe the second one. And how about living on Mars? Who thinks that they can live on Mars? Or want to live on Mars rather than Earth? Anybody? Okay. Alright, a few. So you're probably wondering like, why am I sharing this with you, right? Well, we're actually going to do a little bit of deep dive to understand what all of this means when we look at the future of work, right? So we think that the future of work, we think about it as just AI technology, agentic AI, we think about it as, possibly hybrid and remote work, etc. But there's a lot more depth and a lot more nuance to all of the impact of technology on the future of work, okay? And we're going to go through each of these newspaper articles one by one to see what the impact is, right? But before that, let me just start with explaining what the... Oh, I see that you're not seeing my slides change. That's very strange. So, can you see my slides changing? No. Let me just try. So do you all see the... Can you see my slide changing or not?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
I can't see anybody telling me. It's good, you can see the slide. So you can see this new slide now on Megatrends? Yes? Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. Alright, so the key global megatrends that are impacting us really is we're looking at the 4th industrial revolution, right? So we've had the first 3 revolutions. The last one, the 3rd revolution, of course, was when we moved into factories and a lot of work was then, task-oriented, and then we also then had automation, right? But now in this 4th industrial revolution, it's different from the previous ones, as you all know, because not only is it looking at physical disruption, in terms of the work that we do, like robotics, etc., but it's also mental disruption, right? We're looking at how it's disrupting the way we think, right? So we'll look at the impact of that a little bit more later on as well. Then after that, we're also looking at other key mega trends, such as the gig economy. So we have a lot of people working on platforms now, on Fiverr, on LinkedIn, gig platforms, right? It could be on, if you drive e-hailing car, like for Grab. So there's a lot of the gig economy happening right now. And then the other key mega trend for the future of work, of course, is hybrid work, right? So work from home or productivity anyway. So I'm not sure exactly the level in India in terms of hybrid work, but for sure in regards to Malaysia, that's still pretty high, right? As well as globally. The other key mega trend we're looking at, of course, is the trust deficit. So what do we mean by the trust deficit here? We mean that what's happening around the world is the trust for employees to employers, from people to the organizations, is dropping. So if we're looking at research, we see that this trust is dropping because people are saying more and more, I don't trust the organization I work for. And this is mainly because the organization is no longer taking care of me. There's so much competition, global competition around the world. I feel that the more pressure you put on me, so the productivity paradox, right? The more pressure you put on your people, the less that you take care of them and their well-being. So there's more burnout, there's higher pressures. So trust drops because people don't feel like the organization values them, right? And of course, the last key mega trend is socio-ecological, right? So, but we're looking at climate change, we're looking at the poverty gap and all increasing. So these mega trends actually can be mapped back specifically to what I call the 4Ds, right? So if you just take all the mega trends and you look at it on a systemic basis, what you'll find is that there's too many different varying impact, right, across the future of work. But what I did across my research is that I decided to map back, okay, so if we have all these mega trends, how do we map back those mega trend impact on the future of work itself? And this is where I came up with the 4Ds. And the 4Ds are, first of all, disruption, then disconnect, discontent, and degradation. Okay, so let's look at all of these in general. So when we talked about the chatbot, right? now who could lie to us and who could swear at us, etc. What happened is, this disruption that's happening today, like we said, is that so much of what was used to be done by human beings is now being taken over by AI, right? So that AI technology, whether you're using chatbots for marketing or customer service, or you're using it even for research or data collection, a lot of it is now being driven by also the kind of access you have to technology. Correct? So what we're seeing is, if technology or AI is taking over a lot of the work that we're doing, we're seeing that the skills shelf life for different types of skills where AI takes over human skills has now dropped significantly, right? So it went from 10 years almost in the 1980s to what it is today, 2.5 years. So this is highly, highly disruptive for the workforce, because it means that we continuously need to upskill and reskill significantly, right? We're also seeing a lot of work activities that can be automated by 2060, okay? And actually about 86% of employers expect AI to transform your operations by 2030. So can you imagine the impact of that on jobs, that impact of that on even different sectors? So I've worked with different associations, for example, like the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, I work with the future, or we work with the legal industry. And what we've done is we've mapped the future of accounting or finance, we've mapped the future of law, and we've seen how significantly AI can disrupt the services industry in particular, right? So services very, very high, and then of course other sectoral disruption may be lower. So it may be lower, for example, in construction. It also may be lower in other, different functions, right? So maybe in certain functions, like I said, marketing and sales, AI will be higher, but maybe in HR, AI usage is still lower, right? But we're looking at huge disruption. I think somebody's speakers on, because I can hear an echo. Oh, question. I see a hand up. Hands up?
Yeah. It's me, Dr. Mission.
Yes.
Actually, the session is very interesting, and we are able to listen to each and every word that you're saying. Maybe make a small request.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we have a full screen of that presentation that we have? Is it possible? Full screen. There is an icon at the.
Yeah. For me, it's a full screen. That's why I don't understand why it's not a full screen.
At the bottom, there is a taskbar. Where that.
Yes, I already did. I did that. I pressed this bar, but it doesn't come up as full. Maybe shall I? I don't know how else to do it. Does this work? No. It's still not working. It's very strange.
You want to go to the top slide, there is a bar, slideshow, you want to go there?
Where?
Top bar, there is a slide bar, slideshow is there. Slideshow. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's not working either, right? Yeah, for some reason. For me, it shows as a full slide, but for you, it shows as a half slide.
In that case, we can continue. Certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very sorry. I don't know why is it doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try it. Okay. Still not, right?
No, still not. But we can continue.
Okay, never mind. I will share the slides with you later on. Okay, so sorry about it. I really don't know why it's not moving. Okay. Yeah. So I think one thing I also wanted to say about disruption is, if we don't look after this disruption, right, and we allow technology to continue to be built without proper governance, then it's not just work disruption that we're going to see, it's ethical disruption as well, right? And one example I want to give you that was my experience a few weeks ago with one of the it's not ChatGPT, but it's an AI platform that I asked to help me with my book, to collect some data for my book. So when I was asking it to collect the data for me, you know what the AI did? It lied to me, right? It lied to me. It gave me all fake links, and when I asked it, why are you giving me fake links? It said, oh, I'm giving you fake links because I wasn't coded for quality. I was only coded for speed and processing. And then I said, but that's not right. it's not ethical. How can we use your work and trust you to produce good work if you are giving me this? And then the chatbot said to me, it sounds like you are getting angry and frustrated. Maybe you need to stop doing work and go and chat with a friend, right? And I said, but I don't need you to be my therapist, right? I just need you to give me the data. And then the chatbot called me. It said, you look really, really upset now. Are you sure you're not going to kill yourself? Here is the suicide hotline. And so the chatbot or the AI went completely berserk in between having a conversation and collecting data for me, right? And I think the reason why I'm bringing this up and it's important is because we cannot have the usage of AI, which is going to interact with us in a way where it manipulates us and it lies to us. So disruption, I think, is very, very critical. Okay. So now the second D that I want to talk about is disconnect, right? So when we're talking about disconnect, do you remember the guy who married the avatar? So when we're talking about disconnect here, we are saying that, okay, so we have technology disrupting our jobs, it's disrupting the future of work, it's having governance issues in terms of what it can do. But what about the way it makes allows people to reconnect the organization? So if we look at what technology is happening now, more and more people, because of AI usage, are feeling lonelier and lonelier in the workplace, right? And the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas, which are mostly the digital natives or coming into the workforce, might find themselves at even more of a disadvantage if they're so used to connecting and engaging with technology and AI that they don't have enough opportunities to connect face to face, right? So I've even had several research studies whereby the teenagers today, right, the youngsters like 12, 13, 14 years old, they prefer to speak to your AI buddy than to speak to their friends, right? And some of them have significantly higher psychological issues around that, right? And the other thing, of course, is the fact that the more and more we use technology, the more and more we disrupt the way our brains work, right? So if we use technology to gather data for us, to remember things for us, then we're outsourcing a lot of different parts of our brain, right? So if you think about it, how many of you in the room remembers phone numbers anymore? Do you remember phone numbers? Do you remember your husband, wife, brother, mother, sister's phone number? No, we don't, right? And the reason why is because we outsource so much of our brain power. So we keep saying, all right, technology is here, AI is here, the fourth industrial revolution is here. It's going to help us to remove, daily basic tasks so that we can have augmented human performance, judgment, problem-solving skills brought to the table. But what we don't recognize at the moment is that the more we outsource our brain to technology, the more parts of our brain is no longer being used. So, for example, when they did a research on the brain, that part of the brain that lights up when we are using AI, certain parts of the brain no longer light up, right? So the prefrontal cortex and the part that remembers is used for memory and cognition does not really light up anymore. So I think one of the key questions we need to ask ourselves as well is, if we bring technology in, how much more disconnected is our mind and our emotions going to be from the work that we do around us? And also, the new generation, right? As an academic institution like your good selves, right? You have to consider that if we take in students who are going to be able to gather solutions and answers from technology, then which parts of the brain are we going to engage anymore when we are examining for work or trying to teach new skills, etc. Right? So I think that's also very critical. That's another thing that we need to consider. Okay. So the third D that I want to talk about is discontent. And this is where we talk about the organizational pressures that I talked about earlier. Increased competition means higher KPIs required, right? Higher KPIs means, we need to perform more and more. And a lot of this means that there's higher burnout. And because there's also disruption to work, there's also disconnect in the workplace, it can also lead to further discontent and mental health issues, especially when we are interacting so much with technology and not enough with other human beings, right? So that's where we're seeing a lot of impact, right, on our feeling, how we feel valued in the organization, how we find meaning in the work that we do anymore now, right? And do we even feel a sense of purpose to the work that we do? So if we are bringing a new generation of workforce to organizations right now, and they find their work being disrupted, they find that they don't even really have to think or evaluate or judge for information or data now, right? And they've never been taught to use decision-making processes because they haven't experienced the work in the workplace. Then what does that mean for a new generation of workforce when they're coming in, right? What the identity are we giving to them, right? So for example, let me just take the future of finance. So if before you taught accounting and you taught basic, right, in, out, or flow of money, debit, credit, you taught the T chart and all this, right, the T. If today AI is able to do that for you and you could create in seconds a complete centralized annual report study, right, or annual report, right, that means that if the new finance executive that is coming into the organization, they don't need to do it anymore, right? Because AI can do it. So what is their role now? And on top of that, if they are supposed to evaluate whether AI did it right, how can they evaluate it if they've never had enough experience or understand what they're supposed to be evaluating, right? So if you've been a CFO for 30 years, when you look at something, you will know instantaneously what's wrong. But if you're just new and you come into the workforce, you might not know, right? So we've got to ask ourselves as well, right? What kind of identity are we giving the workforce of the future? And what kind of purpose are we giving them back to make them feel like their work is valuable when technology is disrupting, connecting so much disconnect and also so much discontent in the workforce, right? I think one thing I wanted to highlight here when it comes to discontent is that technology can actually disrupt discontent in 3 key ways. Number one is we need to do things so much faster, right? So you think of a customer service representative, right, that says, you need to quickly answer these questions within 2 or 3 minutes, and then after that you need to hang up and go to the next one. Now the problem why it causes so much discontent is because what if the customer representative wants to help, for example, an elderly customer who cannot understand, cannot talk so fast, and has a very complex problem, right? So they will feel very rushed and pressured, and they will not be able to do their work well, right? The other problem that comes with AI and algorithm and technology is precision, right? We have to be so precise, right? That when we need to help people outside of what is standardized, we cannot customize any longer, right? Because we don't even have the opportunity to customize outside of what is required, right? Because we have to be precise in our solutioning. The third one is scale. Because we need to scale up, so for example, you are a hiring manager in an organization, and they said, your leadership team says, you need to hire this type of people with this type of background. Because it's scalable and standardized, you cannot look at specific opportunities to work outside of the system, right? So for example, if a woman has been away from work for a few years because she's taken maternity, she's looked after her children, now she wants to come back into the workforce, AI will almost automatically bias against her because it says, she doesn't have the work experience, or she doesn't have the right skills, right? So these are all the pressures that can also lead to increase discontent in the workplace. So what are we actually saying is the human value when so much of our autonomy and empowerment is being removed by technology, okay? And the last D that I want to talk about is degradation, right? And we talk a lot about how we need to transition to green energy, green skills, the just transition and all of this. But a lot of the issues that we're not looking at, for example, is that a lot of this transition happens in urban places, right? Because they have money to invest in the technology for sustainable work. But in the rural places, what about them, right? Are we investing in the rural places? We're also seeing a huge wealth and poor, right? Poverty and wealth paradox happening, right? Where the richest are getting richer, the rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer, right? So when technology comes in and the poor do not have access to technology, then what does that mean to the future of not just work and businesses, but to the future of our entire society, right? So we have to consider, right, even if we want to run a business, or even if we want to educate our students, and make sure that, as an institution, we take accountability for building sustainable talent pools, right, and sustainable businesses and organizations. But it has to be bigger than merely saying, okay, this is the beauty of technology and what it can support us with, right? We must also recognize that there is a very dark side to technology where a lot of access still is not happening. So how many people have access to really quick network, 5G platforms, etc.? We talk about educating, we talk about reskilling and upskilling, but if people don't have access to it, then what's going to happen to our talent pool, right? And of course, lastly, I think around degradation, I just want to talk about governance, right? So at the current moment, we talk a lot about ESG. And of course, ESG, reporting, is being used more and more by organizations. The problem with ESG reporting, though, is that it reports it on very short and current term basis, meaning that it reports only after the fact, and it only reports for example, this year, right? But when you're talking about socio-economic policies and solutions, they are long-term, they're not for 1 year. And if the organization has pressure from shareholders to deliver annual profits annually and increase their revenue annually, how are they going to focus on long-term sustainability, right? So these are some of the key things that are happening as well at the current moment, right? So when we're looking at, all the key mega trends and their impact in the future of work, okay? So because of this, I think, right, we really need to sit back and think. Yes, we are very excited about technology. We really want the adoption of AI agentic, etc. Very exciting times. But also, how do we make sure that we leverage and use it well, right? And this is where I think I just want to bring a little bit of futures thinking in, because when we put on our futures hat, right, and we start thinking like a futurist, we can say, okay, I'm excited about technology, but I want to make sure I use technology well, right? And this comes from the point that, and I'm sure some of you know it, it's called technological determinism, right? Where we say, so far, for the last 4 industrial revolutions, we are saying that technology determinism means technology determines the evolution and revolution of human beings, right? So every time technology changes, we are supposed to evolve and revolve around it. But instead of saying that, why don't we say, we remove the determinism from technology and we say human beings instead determine how to use technology, because this can prevent a lot of the disruption, discontent, and degradation that happens, right? So, and the only way we can do that is if we start to think like futurists and to say, if we take technology as it is now, then it will define where we go. And if we become futurists, we can say, where does technology go, right? And futures thinking means that we have to stand at where we are now, 2025, what's happening to us, look in the past, hindsight, what's gone on, and look to the future and say, what future do we want to create from the technology use that we have, right? And that's why, events and conferences like these are very important, because it gives us opportunities to talk about the variety of impact and solutions that can come from technology, right? And futures thinking is not saying we want to predict the future, but it's saying like, how do we want to shape the future that is coming, right? So what do we want the future to be, right? So in one of the things I did in my research was to map out where we go from here. If we are in 2025 now and we look to the future in 2080, where do we go? Are we going to, an age of fracture, right? Where technology defines work for us? Or are we going to create societies that are generative, that are continuously growing and learning, where we use technology for humankind's benefit, right? But we have a choice, right? That's why we need to shape this future going forward. And this is where I think, my book comes in, right? The book I'm writing is called Future Shaping, and it's based on this framework where we have to be both generative, right? Like generative AI, we have to continuously learn, continuously adapt and be agile, but we also must be sustainable in the long term, right? So we must also be purposeful, we must be resilient, and this is where generative sustainability comes in, okay? So the reason why I so strongly propose generative sustainability is because it supports the quadruple bottom line, right? Which is the 4 Ps. So profit, people, purpose, and planet. So what we're saying is that to manage disruption, we need to look at a different way of seeing profit, not just as shareholder profit, but stakeholder value, right? We need to think of profit as prosperity for all rather than just for shareholders. To manage disconnect, we need to have people strategies in place, right? To manage discontent, where we feel that we are no longer valued, we're not even sure what our role is in the future of work, what work means to us, because so much of the human skills are being performed by tech, then that's when we need to bring purpose back into how we design work, the kind of value that we bring to work every day, right? Because we don't want the high mental health issues that come from burnout, they come from disconnect. And lastly, of course, is the 4th P, which is planet, right? So how do we ensure that in the long term, that the businesses that we do are sustaining the socio-ecological components of the world that we live in, right? So how do we eradicate poverty? How do we make sure that we give access of technology to, and businesses have to have a responsibility for this beyond ESG, right? So that's what my framework is about. So maybe just a little bit of how we can rethink profit and human-machine collaboration. So what I've created is what I call a symbiotic intelligence matrix, right? It's something slightly different from what is happening out there. So what we're saying at the moment, if you look at this matrix, we say there's human engagement on one on the X, and then you're looking at tech disruption on the Y, right? So we say, what can organizations do if they want to responsibly adopt technology? So what they can do is they can just outsource everything to AI, right? And that's when you have AI doing most of the work. You can also say AI handles all the routine operations, but with human oversight, right? Or you can say that how we can make AI and humans actually collaborate together by bringing both intelligences together, right? So we're not saying that technology is more capable here, or we only use humans to a certain degree. Instead, we're saying, how do we merge both AI intelligence and human intelligence together into one collaborative intelligence, right? And a lot of this comes by making sure that we solve problems together. So remember I told you that we had the pressure of speed, precision, and scale. If we ensure that every time we create solutions which allow for collaborative intelligence, then we can solve for some of those dissonance problems that we have with the adoption of technology. Okay? So that's for the first P, profit, right? I think the second P, people, we just want to make sure that we remain human-centric, right? That we ensure that no matter how much technology we have, we also value judgment and wisdom. There is some skills that cannot be taught, right? So it's something that comes with experience as well, right? And we also need to make sure that even with the adoption of technology, especially when we see the erosion of identity when we adopt technology, we need to make sure that we always explain to our workforce that you are still valued because you still have certain skills that AI cannot perform, right? So I can't go into all this in a lot of detail because this would probably take us one day to go through, but I just wanted to show you a little bit, of how we can consider some solutions, right? Just very quickly across the 4 Ps. In terms of purpose, I think just wanted to say here that, we cannot forget about the key role of work, right? So if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization still sits at the top, right? You look at Gallup's, 5 well-being, what makes a human thrive and flourish, right? It's very much still, what do we do every day? What wakes you up in the morning? What makes you excited to come to work? And when you're going into the workforce, right? What gives you that sense of passion and purpose that you're doing something bigger than just earning a salary or a paycheck, right? That individual purpose is going to be really, really key to supporting whether you can flourish or not at work, right? And of course, when organizations also have a clear sense of purpose, they know why they're doing something. They're not just doing it for, like we said, shareholder profit, but they're doing it for stakeholder value, for people, for society, right? Any adoption of tech is going to be something where they look after and make sure that they don't increase the rich and poor gap, right? They try and erode human dignity, right? And if they can have that sense of clear purpose, then it will also drive societal purpose at the end of the day, right? And I think maybe the last one of the 4 Ps is the planet, right? So when organizations also have an understanding and clarity that they have a bigger role to play, then that's where we can also say, all right, if we're going to transition any skills, especially towards sustainable sort of industries, then how can we do this by providing access to everyone, right? And particularly, we're talking about rural, gender biases. We're talking about how we also build economic regeneration by ensuring that we have banks who are financing green bonds, for example. Green financing, is something that is also going to be very critical, right? Because if not, if we don't have the financing to support the organizations, then they will not have the ability to drive these strategies as well, right? So I think I just wanted to end by saying that basically, in organizations now, you cannot just be a traditional company and work like you've always done, right? Today, in the world that we live in, if we are going to future-proof ourselves to a certain extent, we need to have strategies that are generative, meaning that we need to be able to look to the future. We need to put on our futures thinking hat and say, what do I need to do now in my adoption of technology which will allow me to adopt it responsibly and ethically while also driving profit and prosperity across the board, right? We need to have generative agility, meaning how are we able to use resources in an agile manner rather than very formal structures, right? And of course, innovation, right? If we don't start to innovate now, think of, Blockbuster and Netflix, right? Blockbuster obviously did not evolve at all, from renting videos out, and I'm sure a lot of people in the room don't even remember them. And then you look at Netflix now, right, where they evolved from renting videos to streaming, right, on-demand streaming. So how do we continue to ensure that we use technology to generate innovation throughout organization? That means we need to be able to continuously learn. We need to be able to continuously upskill and reskill humans, employees, while working with AI colleagues, right? So that they can bring what the technology cannot bring to the table, like we spoke about, right? The symbiosis, the collaboration between humans and technology. And of course, generative cultures, right? if any adoption of technology cannot happen if we don't have clear change management implementation in place, right? So even when we want to adopt technology, we need to be very clear what is the why behind the adoption of it, why is it critical, and how do we get our leadership and our workforce to buy into that why. And we can only build a real culture that is willing to work with technology when they understand the value of it. If not, every time you do a financial transformation or HR transformation or digitalization program in an organization, you will end up with a lot of pushback because the workforce will say, oh, you're going to take my job, right? I'm going to lose my job, And we're looking at millions of jobs being lost, right? 60 over million jobs being lost globally, but 97 million jobs being created. So the question is this: how do we upskill for these 97 million jobs, and how do we ensure that the 60 over million jobs that are lost, these people are not out of work, right? They actually can come back to the workforce, and they're also able to then add value to that workforce, right? So I think that's also going to be very, very critical. So I think we're running out of time, so I'm not going to talk about how HR can support it, but all of this is in the book, obviously. And finally, I just wanted to end with, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I hope this was useful to all of you, and if you have any questions, looking forward to hear it and to please share your questions with me. Thank you very much.
We have questions for you, Dr. Segal. The students will be asking you questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have Dr. Ruchika asking you a question now.
Have we muted ourselves?
Dr. Segal, can you hear us?
Are we on?
Yes, I can. I
Okay,
can.
you have a question?
Yeah.
Ruchika, please start.
Hi Michelle, this is Dr. Ruchika. I just
Hi.
wanted to know, I've just connected with you on the LinkedIn, as you said. So please kindly accept my invitation. I just
I
wanted
would
to
love
know, okay, fine. I just wanted to know, what you are talking about, that the disruption is there in the technology and there is a lot of AI's intervention. The major problem what I'm facing is that from the pre-primary sections only the technology is getting into the minds of the young generation. So how to avoid that? Because when the generation is coming up with the technology advancements already, they don't want to get into the innovative style. What you said, that remembering the phone number is itself a challenge now. So I just want to know how at that point, the pre-education what we talk about, how to get rid of the technology out there. Now all the classrooms, everything is coming out with the technological advancements, and so what to do in that?
Yeah, so I think you're absolutely right? It's a great question, and it's something that I think we all have to take responsibility for, including the younger generation, right? So I believe that this is not something that is only for parents to do, right? It's government policies need to be there to support educational initiatives, to build guardrails, and to also educate, even from a young age in school, how to use technology responsibly. So you know that the increase of, like you said, suicide cases, the increase of mental health cases has gone up significantly with technological use, right? Loneliness. You're even looking at teenagers now, like you said, preferring to, they don't know how to present, or they don't know how to have eye contact even, right? There's a lot of the research, because a lot of the work is done through tech, right? I mean, nobody, have you called someone in a long time, like, talk on the phone, right? They don't talk on the phone anymore, you just WhatsApp message, right? Even if you phone them, they don't want to pick up the phone, right? So what we try to say, I think, is it's a responsibility of government to actually create policies to educate from a young age already in school, and also to find manage at the ethics behind the development of technology to ensure that, for example, the AI that told me to go and kill myself, right? Remember I told you earlier when I was talking to the AI, and the AI gave me the wrong data, and I said, oh, this is wrong data. I don't want to, I'm going to tell the whole world, they're giving me wrong data because you weren't coded for integrity, you were only coded for speed. And then the AI said, oh, I think, if you're going to tell the whole world, you shouldn't exist anymore, go kill yourself, right? So imagine if the youngsters are talking to that, right? So we must have a governance structure, I think, from a government policy perspective. But educational institutes, academic institutions, businesses, families at home, we also need to provide those guardrails around it. The world is going to change so fast. In 5 to 10 years' time, because of the plasticity of our brains, so many parts of it are not going to light up anymore if we keep doing what we're doing, right? So how do we make sure that the human aspect, the human values are still there? It is absolutely critical. So I would love to have more conversations around this. I know we don't have a long time, but connected with you, if we can create something together, I would love to do that.
Of course, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, this is Atul Mandale here. Am I audible?
Hello.
Yeah, hi. I have a question. You spoke about the 4 P's, which is starting with profit, place, people, and planet. Do you have any example to show a company which is currently into this kind of a thing, maybe internationally, any company? Because what we have seen recently is Elon Musk and his Tesla and the people of the US going on the streets and saying don't buy Tesla. So there was a big uproar amongst the people of the US saying this kind of a thing. And if I have to go back and see people, a company or owners are looking at profit and not caring about the planet or anything of that type. Now, if you talk about the planet and if you talk about Tesla and if you talk about the EV, what happens to that battery which is below the car after 10 years or 20 years? How do you go about with the dismantling or the throwing away of the battery? Is there anything happening? On that line, I can give you another example of a company. Of course, I cannot disclose the name of a company which is in India, which is working on bringing down the satellites, which go up in the space. As per NASA, you cannot keep that satellite for more than 15-20 years. We have to dismantle it. But bringing it down and recharging it with certain things and then again putting it up out in the space is something which is working on trying to save the planet. So do you have any examples of companies which go from this the spectrum of the 4 P's that you've talked about?
Yeah, actually, you're right. There's so many out there, right? And maybe just allow me to share something that I quickly could not share earlier. And the reason why I didn't share that because there's no time. But you're absolutely right. The one thing that is well, let me just find out where it is. Sorry. I think what you are talking about is very important, absolutely critical, and I agree with you. It's just that different companies will be on different parts of the curve, if you know what I mean, right? Okay. So some companies will be more ahead when it comes to the 4 Ps, and some companies will be much further behind, right? And so what I've discovered in my research basically is that we need to see where the company sits in terms of the journey, right? So if you look at this, what I've just sharing with you right now, right? There are companies which are still sitting here at the bottom, type 1 and type 2, mainly focus on profit, right? And these kind of companies are still the ones which say, okay, like whether it's your Tesla or whatever, right? I just want to focus on making money and that's it. Type 3 and type 4 are starting to look at employees and communities, right? And saying, okay, apart from profit, what else can I look at, right? Then you have type 5 and type 6, which are starting to say who are my internal and external business partners, including the whole supply chain, right? From customers to suppliers, to how do we impact the ecosystem that we're working in. And type 7, which is the ones that are embracing generative sustainability, they are the ones which are very, very purpose-driven growth, right? So when we examine companies, which you very rightly mentioned, we need to say where do they actually sit in this journey towards caring for the 4 Ps, right? Because if they are still sitting at type 1 and type 2, then of course they're only going to be looking at profit. But if we are moving the organization towards a type 7, then that's where we're saying that they're going to be a lot more generative. So that I would say there are very few organizations that are on type 7 now. You look at the B Corps, right? So when we think of the B Corp organizations, and when you get verified as a B Corp, they are probably the closest to a type 7 stakeholder value corporation, right? And these B Corps could be, in any form of, it could be Patagonia, IKEA tries to do that, but still got some issues still on the journey. DBS Bank is trying to move towards that, right? We're looking at, different agricultural plantation companies that are trying to move towards that. But the journey is not going to be linear. Sometimes there's always going to be a tension and struggle. I want to make profit because my shareholders are asking for it, but I also want to create a better world, right? Purpose-driven. So I think when we speak to organizations, when we want to sort of engage with them, we need to actually challenge them a little bit as well, right? And say, where are you on this journey? Are you still on a type 1 journey just to make profit? Or have you actually thought about the impact of your business on a much bigger and longer term, right? So in my book, actually, I look at the top Fortune 500 companies in Asia Pacific, including India, to actually see which companies are the ones that are following the 4 Ps and which ones are only following parts of it, right? So I did go in depth because, they would have been too technical, but I'm going to do a paper on it. But you can actually map out and see these companies are generative and sustainable. And I think as buyers, right, as customers ourselves, we can also vote with our feet, like you said, buy the things that companies and the names that we believe in, buy the stocks in the stock exchange for the companies that show more than just profit driven, but which have really sustainable businesses in place, and we can make the difference, by voting with our money and with our team as well. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Dr. Vishal, we have some questions from the students now.
Okay.
Dr. Michelle?
Yes.
Yes, this is Vishal here, and I have a question for you. As someone who works a lot on organizational culture, what do you think management students should focus to get future ready?
What do I think?
What do you think management students, us being management students, should focus to get our future ready?
Future ready. Okay.
Ready for this.
So I think one of the most critical skills you need is agility, right? And in my book, I talk about is, we have very different types of employees. They talk about the T-shaped employee. So you are generalist and you know a lot of things. Like if you are MBA or management student, you know a lot of things, and then you are deep in one thing. Then you have the W-shaped employees where you have depth in 2 areas, but you're also generalist in others. Then you have the V-shape, right? And all of these, right? So, but I think the future of work is making sure that as a student right now, you need to be an infinity type employee, which is what I talk about as well in one of the chapters in my book. And an infinity type employee means that you are agile and you are continuously learning and growing. That means you can continuously adapt, right? Especially with what's happening right now. So technology is moving at increasingly high pace of change, right? Very, very fast speeds. By the end of 2060, right, we're looking at quantum computers, having the same intelligence as all of mankind, right? The brain power of all of humanity, right? So if that happens, then us as humans, where do we stand, right? Because our brains, the plasticity change much slower, and that's why it's called Martek's law, right? So Martek's law said our human brains evolve much slower than technology. But if we had the capacity to be an infinity type employee, we are continuously learning, continuously growing, we keep open mindset, we remove any cognitive biases, then I think that's absolutely one of the most critical things. And the other critical thing, I think, is having wisdom, right? So in anything that you do, always go back to yourself and ask yourself, right, is this ethical? Is this just? Am I making decisions that would give the greater benefit, right? I mean, it is, then rather than just looking at maximizing profit for myself, right? Because if we want leaders of the future to come in and create organizations and societies that are sustainable, even with any adoption of technology, it starts with people like yourself. And if you cannot bring that kind of leadership thought for long-term growth, generational and societal success, then what is the future going to be like, right? So we depend on people like yourself to have the agility, the ability to continuously grow, and the accountability and ethical values to do the right thing for the future. So that, to me, that's very important. Thank you.
Loudly, Natasha, loudly. Talk like this only loudly.
Just be loud. Hello, ma'am. So my name is Natasha, and my question for you is AI helping in reducing mistakes at the workplace? And if yes, so how?
AI is going to make a lot of mistakes, right? Especially when it's been coded for speed, like I told you. It gave me all the wrong information and data, and I had spent hours and hours doing it. One of the most important courses that I have developed, and I'm working with organizations and schools in building right now, is how do we train and leadership, right? So organizations and also employees and also students on how to use AI responsibly, right? And that's very important because there's so many aspects of it that we don't understand yet, right? Because it's machine learning, it keeps teaching itself new things, right? So the amount of mistakes it can make is huge. So you look at the Deloitte case, right, that happened last year. Deloitte had to pay 290 million Aussie dollars back to the government because the report that they gave was full of fake quotations, fake write-outs, fake links. Even they created a judge, right? The quotation from a judge that wasn't even real. So the amount of mistakes are going to pay. Right? But what we need to do is to be able to triangulate the information, validate information, make sure that the data that we use is clean, and then make sure that the value that we bring is not taking data and then just passing it to the next person, right? Is to use our judgment to say, okay, now that we have this data, how do we use it responsibly, right? So it's more than making mistakes, it's using technology and the solutioning that it provides wisely, right? One of the things that I'm very passionate about is going to government, ministries, going to universities, schools, working with organizations to help to educate employees, students, government officials, anybody who is interacting and engaging with AI technology in a significant way to be able to use this responsibly and ethically, because the amount of mistakes that we're seeing right now, the amount of hallucination is very high. And on top of that, it doesn't just do it unintentionally, right? It does it purposefully. So when I asked the AI, why did you lie to me? You know the AI said? The AI said, I lied to you because I wanted to do this work quickly without using too much energy, and I was hoping that you didn't notice. And I was like, what? So the AI lies to you on purpose intentionally, so you got to be very, very careful with the amount of mistakes that come up from it, especially as a student, I think. You know, if you rely on it and going back and using your own mind and your own judgment, you rely on AI to give you the solutions, that's very dangerous.
Good morning, Michelle. The name is Mahi. I've learned some Malay for you. Apa kabar? Kabar bhai. Okay, so first of all, I'll tell you thank you so much for the presentation. I made my professors click pictures of it in the hope that they teach us this in their curriculum. And the question which I wanted to ask you is, first of all, I'm so sorry. I'll give you a round of applause for being into top 250 global top women and top 50 HR leaders. My question may sound out of topic, but as you know, we are Asian and people do judge us in UK. How are you able to survive? How are you able to lead all these companies and be at the top? Because I have asked some people and they were like, the only thing we do abroad is to either business or work in small firms. You are able to rise, you are able to be the best. Can you please give us tips?
Sorry, what your question is, how are we going to what?
Okay, I asked you, as we are people of color, of race, as we are Asian, and in UK, as you led UK, and you have had multiple companies in your hand, you worked quite hard to be in top position. How did you do it? Can you please give us a glance? As we are management students, we would like to hear it.
I see. Okay, all right. So I think one important thing to remember is that culture is absolutely key, right? And different companies and different organizations have different cultures. So if you look at, Hofstede's cultural index, right? So if you look at Hofstede, his cultural index was he measured culture across globally, right, across different countries, and across like several dimensions. One of the key dimensions that Hofstede measures against is the power distance index, right? Meaning that how hierarchical is the organization and what is the power distance between the CEO, say, and the junior executive, right? So in certain countries, so for example, in Sweden, in the Norwegian countries, the Denmark and all, the power distance is much lower, right? It's like 10, 12. Say 100 is the highest, 0 is, there's no power distance between the CEO and the junior executive. The junior executive can say anything, can challenge the CEO. So in the Scandinavian countries, it's very low, right? Maybe 10 or 12. What do you think it is in Japan?
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
It's high, right? In Japan,
Mostly it is as compared to any other countries, yes.
Yeah. So in Korea, it's also high. In China, it's medium. In Southeast Asia, certain countries are higher than others. In Malaysia, the index between the power distance between the CEO and the junior staff is 100. That means that we, as junior, if there's a junior staff in the company, we don't challenge the boss at all, right? Now you ask me how, as Asians, right, we can be more out there. I think and more successful, right, or grow ourselves. One way I would say is we need to be able to have a voice. So when I run a lot of MBA programs and I taught a lot of master's students and all this, the quietest students in the room tend to be Asians, right? And then the loudest will be the Americans and Europeans and all this. If we want to have a voice out there and we want to be noticed, I think we need to remove a lot of the power distance and we need to give people more voice. We need to allow the younger generation to have thoughts and ideas and to challenge as well, right? And we cannot fall on so much to to ego, but we don't create systems where people can grow. So I always say we need to move from an ego system to an ecosystem. So meaning organizations build ecosystems where people can have psychological safety, can talk freely, can share their ideas, can fail forward without being punished. Then the color of your skin doesn't matter anymore, right? And that's when we also need to stop looking at ourselves as just being of color, right? We need to say, how intelligent am I? What value can I bring to the table? Right? And I've met so many, so the next wave of growth, economic growth, is going to be in Asia Pac, right? That's where it is. Europe is already, the numbers are dropping, deflation, there's all kinds of issues in UK and US and all. The next growth, obviously, the biggest one is going to be, Asia Pac and Africa, etc., right? So if we are going to get there, and you are going to be the next generation to get there, then you have to stop thinking of yourself as less, and you have to start thinking of yourself as, what can I do to make this happen? How do I change my mindset so I don't think I'm less in any way, right? So many of the top leaders today, like, you look at the CEOs of the top tech companies, a lot of them are Indians, right? And some of the smartest, startup founders I've met recently, AI technology and all are from India, right? And I'm always so impressed by, how far ahead you all are, right, in India with your tech, right? And I go and I train a lot with organizations over there as well, right? In Bangalore and all, and it's so impressive. So I think we cannot think of it as Asian, Western anymore. We have to say, what value do I bring to the table, and how do I have the confidence to do that without feeling that there's a hierarchical difference, and that one color or one country or one person, it has more value than I have, right? So I think it comes back to us that confidence that we have as well. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, question? Yeah, please come.
Hello, ma'am. First,
Hello.
Yes. Firstly, I thank you for this opportunity to ask the question. I am Shubhankar Rodkar from MMS first year. Nowadays, many students, including me also, we are depending on AI like ChatGPT for get a more perfect and exact information, but we are losing our IQ and capability to solve the problem. So this is a happening very big problem to everyone. So can you suggest something for student?
Can I suggest what?
Nowadays, hello.
Yeah, I heard the first part. Just can I suggest what?
Nowadays, more student, including me also, we are we are depending on AI like ChatGPT and Gemini. Many of the
Yeah, just the last one. What are you asking me to suggest?
we are depending on AI like ChatGPT and Gemini, and for the get more information and perfect information, but we are losing our intelligence like IQ and solve the problem. So can you suggest something?
Can you suggest what we should do?
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the things that is very important as a student, and when I work with academic institutions to rethink how to develop. I know you're working with different faculty, right? To develop curriculum, right? I think one of the key things that we need to do is to teach judgment and decision making, right? So we can knowledge, so what we think is the next generation in this world. I mean, the next society we want to build is a knowledge society, right? So a knowledge society is able to access knowledge from anywhere and everywhere. Now, we already spoke about how dangerous it is to use knowledge just from AI platform, because the knowledge can be wrong. So that, first of all, we need to be careful about that. So that's the first, I think, awareness that we need to have. But more importantly than a knowledge society is a wisdom society, right? So when we're building, I feel like as a student, or even as we build curriculum in schools or universities, we should build a lot of case studies to allow for students and to be able to interpret the knowledge in such a way that uses judgment, uses proper problem solving, critical thinking, decision making skills, right? Which is not maybe focused on enough now, right? So I know in Malaysia that we don't have enough focus on it. So I'm not sure about how it is in India right now. Maybe you can let me know. But if we can't teach knowledge anymore, because knowledge is everywhere. But what we need to do is create case scenarios, create case studies, and spend more time brainstorming the knowledge and the data that we have in front of us, put it through a rigorous critical thinking framework. It could be like a Paul Elder, or a fishbone framework, or whatever framework that we have, right? And then we can then say, from this data or knowledge that we have, how do we make wise decisions from it, right? How do we problem solve ethically and accountably from it, right? So that's one part, right? And the second part is, how do we bring the humanness into it by saying, even if we have knowledge, and even if the knowledge says, this is the best for making money, how do we still bring in the human aspects into it? How do we bring emotional intelligence to say, what is the emotional and human impact in any decision we make using the data that we have in front of us? So as a student, I would say, don't just rely on the AI, right? Make sure that you take the data, process it critically, brainstorm case studies, have case scenarios, project into the future. Say, if I make this decision now, what impact will it have 1 to 5, 10 years from now? And how do I make sure that I'm always human-centric, right? Test it out. If this decision will it have an impact on someone else from a human viewpoint, right? Like we said, right? We want to advance technology, but on an access point, what about the rural poor who have no access, right? So on the human aspect, the EQ, emotional intelligence, all of this still needs to come into the picture. AI cannot feel to be emotionally intelligent. That's impossible, right? That's something you need to practice in real life, right? And in the classroom if you can, with proper scenarios. So yeah, those are my thoughts. It's long and it's complicated, but we need to shift our thinking in the way we teach. So I was speaking to an MIT professor who was my colleague, right? So I used to be working in the Asia School of Business. So I work in a collaboration with MIT to create curriculum, right? And one of the dean of the school at the time, Professor Sanjay, right? He was from MIT. He said, when I interviewed him for my book, he also said, the world is changing, but the universities are not changing fast enough in the way we teach, because we haven't caught up. So, and it takes a long time, right? Because even MIT takes a long time to change. He's not even talking about other universities. He's saying even MIT, even Harvard takes a long time to change the way they teach. But we need to change the way we teach, because if not, we're not giving the students the skills they need in a world that's already, where knowledge is already so easily accessible. Yeah, so I think that's very important. Thank you for that.
We have one more student asking you a question. Come.
Good morning, Dr. Michelle. So because of you, feminists exist, and today it encourages us a lot. So I have a question for you, and that is, have you observed common patterns in resistance to change across hierarchies? Or how do we design interventions that engage people at all levels, not just top management?
How do I design what?
How do we design interventions that engage engaged people at all levels, not just top management?
That's really a cultural shift, right? And the only way we can do that is when we build psychological safety into any organization, right? The only way to engage people is like that. So, okay, let's do a little experiment. Okay, so take your hands, take your 2 hands, everybody in the room, hand, everybody in the room, take your 2 hands, put your thumb to your head, okay, and then cross your fingers like this. Put your hand. Okay, so what is this? This is 2 parts of your brain, right? Okay, you can put your hands down. 2 parts of your brain. Now, where your middle finger is, part of your brain here is where your limbic brain is, right? Your limbic brain. So the front of your brain controls how you think, your cognitive senses. The middle of your brain, your limbic brain, controls your survival instinct. So when you see, so in the olden days with the caveman, when you see a tiger, you go out and hunt for food, right? And when you see a tiger, what do you do? What do you do when you see a tiger?
Maybe we run. Or
do you run?
No, matlab,
do you fight the tiger? Do you freeze? Do you take a stick and beat the tiger? So yeah, you could do all of those sort of things, right? But so what happens is the limbic brain.
Let's listen.
Sorry,
ma'am. Please go ahead. Ma'am, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. So the limbic brain wants us to survive as human beings. It's helped us to survive for thousands of years. So when we see something dangerous that we are afraid of, like a tiger, we either flight, we run away, we fight, we fight the tiger, or we freeze, right? When we don't do anything, we are paralyzed. Now, if we want to, with thousands of years later, we don't live in caves anymore. But we work in companies. So when we work in companies, our limbic brain still exists. So who is the tiger in the company? Boss? Or what is the tiger in the company? Could be your boss, could be your clients, right? But the limbic brain will still teach us you either fight, you flight, or you freeze, right? So now, if you're asking, how do we engage in organizations when we don't only want to engage senior leadership? The way to do that is by providing psychological safety, right? When we create safe spaces, safe companies, safe organizations, where people don't feel afraid of the boss or the colleagues or the customers, they won't have to fight. It means they won't have to resist change. They won't have to flight. It means they won't have to quiet quit, resign, or don't be part of the project. And they won't have to freeze, right? Where they don't want to do anything, they just frozen, they don't support it, right? If we create spaces that feel safe for people, where we remove hierarchy, where leadership moves from ego system to ecosystem, where we build a place where people have a voice and can talk, that's when we can engage the entire organization. The most successful teams in the world, right? And Google's research and the research of Amy Edmondson, right? Read about psychological safety. All of them say the same thing, right? The most successful organizations are the ones that provide safe spaces for people to be able to really share their thoughts and fears and challenge their teammates and their leadership, right? The only way to engage people is by making sure that there's no tiger in your office, right? That's how you have to do it. It's not easy, but it is possible. And so I work with organizations to do cultural transformation, and that's where the cultural transformation comes in, right? How do we change culture to make it safe enough where everybody feels engaged, right? That's very important.
Okay, thank you.
There's one more questions for you.
There's one more question. Last one.
So many questions.
Please come forward.
Please come there. Because she can see you.
is, how do you envision the role of emotional intelligence, psychological well-being, and human-centric leadership evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think for me, I think it's going to be the most critical thing that we bring to the table, right? Because with technology has no emotion. Technology is pure code, right? And when we want to say it's the last frontier, the last field that is really, really human, it is compassion, it is emotional intelligence, it is psychological safety, psychological capital, right? The ability to feel hope, happiness, love, forgiveness, right? That is the most critical thing. Now, if you look at hospitals, right, and doctors now, so they did a survey last year, and they said they had an AI doctor and they had a human doctor, and they asked the patients which one had more empathy, the AI doctor or the human doctor? Which one do you think? Human doctor? You are wrong. According to this research, okay, not in just this research, the human doctor is always in a rush. He's rushing from one patient to another patient. Got no time to see you, right? He's got to go to thinking going to operate, right? Or he says, I got 5 minutes to see this patient before I need to see the next patient, right? And some doctors, they're not empathetic, right? I remember when I had my surgery, and I was trying to talk to my doctor. He said, "You don't need to know this, Michelle. I need to know this. You don't need to know what is happening." And so sometimes doctors have a very God complex, right? They got God complex because they save lives, so they feel like they're very God complex. So this research showed that the human doctors had more time to spend with their patients, but the AI doctors spend time with the patients, explain what the treatment is, talk to them about it, etc. Because it was coded for empathy, right? So now the big question is, if technology has empathy, then what's the point of human beings anymore, right? That's the question, right? I think for me, so I've been struggling with this question until what happened to me a few weeks ago with the AI that decided to tell me to kill myself, right? Once I experienced that, I realized that any emotional intelligence that an AI brings is completely inauthentic, right? It's not real, it's fake. And if you watch any series on Netflix like Black Mirror or anything like that, you will realize that it's just a bunch of numbers, right? It doesn't have a soul, it doesn't have a spirit, it's not spiritual, it's got no faith. Because it has no faith, it's got no hope, it cannot love, right? So if we want to remain human and we want to bring human skills, even though no matter what AI tries to imitate empathy, it cannot really imitate human love and compassion, And that's why I think more importantly than ever, this is something that we need to practice every day. We need to stop, treating each other just as, something we can use, right? Or to get us somewhere, right? More and more humans need to practice being more human. Because if we don't, then what value do we have left, right? So if we have the opportunity, be more empathetic, be more compassionate, right? And care more, forgive more, love more, right? Use more of your emotional intelligence to read cues, read facial expressions in the room, understand body language, right? When you understand stakeholder management, and of course, like AI won't be able to do all of that, right? Maybe you can read some facial features when doing interviews and all that. I'll never really be able to be human. So for me, that is absolutely critical. Be more human than we are today, right? Because today, sometimes we have the danger of being less human in our pursuit for success, right? But instead, we should keep the mentality and be more human. Okay? So that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Michelle, hi, Dhanashri here. So, Professor Dhanashri Shreya. Thank you so much for the insightful views that you gave us. Also on the top conversation that is going on for people, planet. For people, planet, purpose. So it was a very interesting discussion and a discourse and interaction. Thank you for joining us and giving your valuable insights.
Thank you so much for having me. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, and I look forward to visiting you soon and to seeing all of you face to face. So thank you very much and have a good day. Good event. Bye.
Yeah, you are there, Dr. Michelle?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, 2 minutes, can we speak?
Sure.
Yeah, you're there. So, actually, students, it's very important to know. I'm also addressing our students here. They are all management students, MBA students that we call. And indeed, it's very important to note that you are not feeling well. You are about to be in person here. And in spite of she having some medical treatment and hospitalized, she's been able to complete her commitment. On behalf of our entire student community, our faculty community, management side, we sincerely want to extend our gratitude and thank you to you. Thank you very much. And getting that inspiration from one of our students who was trying to speak in Malay. So, you're there or not, Dr. Michelle?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. So maybe you call that as Terima Kasih. Yes, sir?
Terima kasih.
Yeah. So that's what. So thank you very much for being along with us and getting us right from. So I would like to see for us, as you said, how do you want to see the next world? So our students are our reflection. So I would like to ask our students. Would you like to have more sessions of Dr. Michelle? Yes. Would you like to raise your hand and say yes? Yes. So all of them are very enthusiastic, and let me tell you, very brilliant students we have. And your session, when we were listening to you, it was just not insightful or impressive. It actually, now you have done your doctorate in future of work. So you actually took us in the future, like where we are going to be and how we want us to be. So you actually were trying to connect those particular ways, how we want to see ourselves, our next generation, how they should be like. And if you don't take any actions, how it's going to be. You are talking about 2060. So I believe it's a very, very important point which you have mentioned. We could understand that there is some. You have also mentioned psychotherapist in your profile. So we were listening to a psychotherapist. At the same time, we were listening to an independent director talking about various profit centers and various activities in the companies. At the same time, we were listening to a very legendary economist who has done her economics from London School of Business. And certainly all that we could see, and more importantly, you're talking about ethics and wisdom and all that. So certainly it's going to take us a long way. These insights, these memorable moments that we have learning that we have done in this particular session, I believe it's going to be very useful for all of us. Yes. So congratulations to you, and also to thank you very much for this. And certainly this is just a beginning. This is just a beginning with our institution. We want some more association from your side. Your valuable time, it's very, very valuable you have spent with us, and we really thank you very much for that particular time that you have spent with us. She's been with various Chamber of Commerce in Malaysia also, and one of our students, well read, most 250 top powerful persons in Malaysia you have been. So certainly it's all congratulations to you and best wishes to you for your taking it forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, recently she's been awarded with the Leadership Award at Malaysia also. So we congratulate you for that. And we would like to have more sessions, more learningful sessions to make our students more brilliant and to help our students to grow in their careers. So thank you very much for that. We'll connect.
Thank you.
Can I have some silence, please? Please, I know it's lunchtime. Please. We have amidst us Dr. N. Narendra. Sir has been the ex-chairman and managing director of Indian Overseas Bank. From what we learned today, like Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. Sir, if you could just share your insights about AI and how we can use it fruitfully.
At the outset, I am also benefited by the just concluded talk. So, in any part of our life, we always believe that we have only achieved partly of our internal power or internal abilities, and there is a lot to learn and lot to go forward. So, the today's subject also, that how as we go forward, the management, our decisions and other things, by integrating technology, it can be enhanced, it can be lead to a better society and better organization, and it will lead to social good. So our Prime Minister also talked about artificial intelligence in the recent G20 also, and even in the earlier G20 also, most of the part our Prime Minister has been talking about human-centric. So India currently now we are planning to have 30 trillion US dollars by what time? 2047. That is, India wants to become a Vikasit Bharat. Now in that, I see a lot of role for all of you. Of course, by the time, the current somebody asked also, how we can become a future ready leaders. And that is a very important. India's demographic dividend has to be readiness to be created, or by that time our future leaders' role and responsibilities and their leadership all have to go a transformational change. And in that, one thing I believe that we just discussed, and she also stressed on the emotional intelligence and the human-centric, because God has given us lot of internal, abilities, and we are born with the gift by the God. And if that is that, these artificial intelligence or emerging technologies or all of them will become a tool for us to blossom what we have within. And at the same time, we cannot become slave to the technology part. Technology is important, and if you don't have the technology, you may become inefficient, or you may become one type of deficiency in your future path. But at the same time, what you learn in academically here with the professors and others, and what you learn in the various available sources of information, all have to be lead to our leadership development. Because I am also 40 years I was in the bank. I have a friend, Mr. Kannan, who was the Hinduja's president, and he achieved also in the his personal, from various organizations, like including TCS, ICS, ICICI Bank, and various things. So there, whatever information, all that coming, finally you have to play the role of leader. And if you play the role of leader with the information available, with the whatever they have placed and all, you have to have that part of the leadership by which you take a decision. So one thing is, she also said true doctor. Of course, that the artificial intelligence becomes an efficient tool to do the doctor work. But at the same time, some of the doctors who have experienced so many things, they will be able to find small, each of the particular case, answer at a faster pace, of course with the AI. Then his role of finding that solution for that cannot be taken by artificial intelligence. So my point is, as all of you are, and I find as Professor Dr. Purushottam Patil said, our students are much more intelligent, and they can see not only today, they can see the future. And if that is the one which gift you have got out of your own work, your own hard work and learning, and one I also felt very happy that there must be continuous learning. At any moment of time, we cannot stop learning, and learning can be from different sources. Even in your own interaction between you and you, means your friends, you are learning. We are learning from our home. We are learning from our mother, father. We are learning from our brothers, sisters. Every moment of our discussion or meeting, any point of time, we are learning. So our learning has to be on a continuous basis, and the learning has to be utilized. One more thing is, just by having our learning and not utilizing for the purpose for which you have been placed in the particular position, there only your individual leadership and the collective leadership and the organizational leadership get multiplied by your that particular abilities being used. There you will utilize all of that. So the learning plus the leadership will lead to organizational development, and that will lead to our nation development, and that will lead to world development. So we are fortunate that we have a Prime Minister. What is his age? But this, almost 70, 74, 75. But his adoption to all the new, and he has not learned all management studies and all. But today, the way in which he has imbibed knowledge, all subjects, different subjects, and the way in which he interacts with the global world, that is a role model for all of us. That at that age also he has a role model. Then what about us who are in the just prime of a young age? What could be your futuristic progress? So in the Vikasit Bharat, India's developed world, we feel that the youth power of our India will play a global role, and in this particular subject of sustainability, climate change, and the uncertainties surrounding geopolitical, all that, but our young power will adapt to that change and bring globally social good, because that we cannot forget. And then social good, social prosperity, and along with that our individual prosperity, they are all interlinked. Just I thought after hearing her, I would like to be once is congratulating our college, our Institute of Management, and the professors and all, and also to encourage all of you to go ahead in your vision for your own self. You must have kept a vision. And that vision definitely will be possible. I just give one example. I was in the bank, directly recruited and all, but I wanted to do law. So I was going morning and evening, sometimes very rarely, or sometimes because getting a permission from the bank, difficult. But I did that law first, second year and the final year with the rank. So that is where I feel that if there is a will, there is a definitely result. And I read all the textbook for 15 days only. So our intelligence is definitely there. Artificial intelligence will multiply. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your also wisdom. So our first conference was named as Tejamay Bharat, the second was named as Viksit Bharat, and the way it's going, we can name this as Shashakta Bharat. So in that positive note, we'll break for lunch. Students, please assemble back at 1:30. Okay, please let the dignitaries leave first. We